Our next session is a case study exploring transforming EdTech practices, a national strategy. This will be presented by Chris Owen, Deputy Director of the Digital Learning Division, Education and Public Services Group at the Welsh Government. Over to you, Chris.
Pnawn da, good afternoon, and thank you for having me today. Hopefully over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll be able to give you a really good overview of our programme in Wales and what we've been doing over the last sort of 8 years to deliver EdTech transformation. Wales is one of the 4 nations within the UK and has a population of just over 3.1 million citizens. We have a fully devolved education system here in Wales, so everything I talk about here has been very much led by the Welsh Government administration. I'll just click into my slides and hopefully first we'll give you a quick overview of how education in Wales is changing. Could we unmute the sound on the video, please?
Is a legacy. Every life finds its foundation where we learn who we could be.
School, where Wales was made, where Grand Slam winners learned to play, where Welsh artists, singers, actors, thinkers first stepped onto the stage to shine. They saw the world with new eyes, made hadron particles collide. There've been 4 Welsh winners of the Nobel Prize, and someone, somewhere, right now, might be dreaming of becoming number 5.
And so it's time to make our mark, to say this is where our journey starts. It's time to show the world what Wales knows, how strong we can stand, how tall we can grow, that we've got ideas and skills we can share. What brought us here can take us anywhere.
What vision will we bring to life? How far will our ambition fly? We're the world shapers, the future makers. We are Team Wales.
Okay, so that gives a bit of a flavour of the current curriculum changes, which I'll come back to in a second. But just to sort of jump back a little to where our EdTech journey began, which was really back in 2012 when our Minister for Education at the time commissioned a task and finish group to look at how digital practices could have a positive impact on classroom practices. That task and finish group developed a report which had 10 headline recommendations in it, the main one effectively being to develop an all-Wales learning platform. And from that point, the EdTech programme in Wales really started to form. The landscape in Wales is quite vast and quite varied. We have some densely populated cities, but we also have some very rural areas. We have around 1,501 maintained schools that we look after across 22 local authorities or districts in the country, with 4 regional education consortia who are then in place to look after school improvement. So we work as a government across all of these areas, supporting our local authorities and our regional consortia through delivery of EdTech services. The hub programme has been evolved, and the word hub, I should probably explain, is derived from the Welsh word hub, which means to boost or to spur, and it's really been about raising our standards in EdTech usage. You've seen the video on the curriculum changes in Wales, and that was on the back of another review into the curriculum assessment arrangements back in 2015, when there were 68 key recommendations as to how Wales should change its curriculum assessment arrangements going forwards. Critically, though, one of the key findings within that report was around the need to place digital competence on an equal footing with literacy and numeracy, and to treat it as a cross-curricular activity. In the past, computing, ICT had been seen as a discrete subject, whereas now we were really going to give our teachers a license to blend it right the way through the new curriculum. But to support the rise and proliferation in the use of digital technology in the classroom, we had to really iterate our Hub EdTech program to make sure that we could meet the needs of the teachers in the classrooms, but also the learners, providing them with a range of tools and services that would absolutely transform the way they operate. The program objectives were quite simple when you look at them in the main. The top one is always around increasing learner attainment, but I'm very clear when I talk to schools, head teachers, etc., that it's not about dropping a range of technology into the classroom and all of a sudden your learner outcomes will go straight up. Instead, it's about a step change, making sure that you're using technology where appropriate and making sure that your practitioners are confident in its use so that they can properly embed it within the classroom. There are obviously improvements in the use of digital technology because technology is at the heart of this. It's all fully centrally funded by Welsh Government, so there are no costs or burdens to the school. So again, we're taking that burden away from them. Consistency is really important in Wales. We don't want to have a postcode lottery where some schools can because they've got really good network managers, really good IT teachers who will absolutely drive this, and then other schools are not so fortunate. So for us, we had to provide a level playing field across the country for every school to be able to benefit from the EdTech opportunities. And finally, collaboration. Our new curriculum is built by teachers, led by teachers. So what we needed to do was provide all teachers across Wales with the opportunity to have their say in how the curriculum was going to be shaped and how it was going to be delivered. So through the tools we have available through our Hub platform and associated cloud services, we are able to provide ready-made collaboration spaces for every teacher to have their say and to be part of the conversation. Some headlines to just sort of run you through, these just sort of headline figures. I won't run through them all in detail, but we've invested a lot of money in the Hub programme over the years. £45 million has gone into broadband infrastructure and things like wireless networking within schools. We've put a further 80 million in the last 2 financial years into in-school infrastructure, so there's a lot of money going into that area. We've provided the national cloud services and a national digital identity, which I'll talk through in a bit more detail in a second. So that there's a lot of investment by Welsh Government in these tools and services. Usage is really positive. We have 100% of our maintained schools actively engaged in using our digital services across the whole country. Usage is growing month on month, and clearly with the recent pandemic, we've seen a huge spike in demand for the platform. And what our big challenge now is around making sure our practitioners can fully exploit these tools and technologies. So although we've been out to 100% of our schools and provided training opportunities, we have a lot more work to do around providing professional learning opportunities and making sure our teachers are confident and competent in using and exploiting these tools and services. Okay, so this infographic really just gives you a bit of a flavour of the current sort of setup. 3 core strands here. The left-hand side, we can see the little PSBA logo down the bottom left there. That indicates our broadband connectivity across Wales. On the right-hand side, we have Hub, which is the central platform, and then the schools are obviously at the heart of our programme here. Wrapped around the outside, you'll see our 22 local authorities across Wales, with the 4 regional consortia on the bottom, then providing the school improvement support. And all of this is under our national mission, our Education in Wales programme, which is the reform of the curriculum and assessment arrangements. What you see in the centre of the screen here is actually the Hub platform itself. So if you go to hub.gov.wales, you get access to our core national digital learning platform for Wales. And that platform really provides a launch point to access all of our tools and services. But what we've also done is collapse all of our other digital channels across Wales into the single channel, because what we needed was the one-stop shop for all of our teachers, learners, parents, carers, governors, you name it. They can come here and access everything they need. So it was really important to make sure that we built this platform in conjunction and in partnership with our stakeholders, listening to their feedback and then iterating the design as we went forward. And part of that has resulted in the huge uptake that we've now seen across our users in Wales. This slide looks really simple, and effectively it simply looks like a username and password. But in effect, what we've done in Welsh Government is developed a digital identity provider service whereby we link into every school's management information system database, suck data out on a regular basis to develop a digital identity. Every learner, every teacher, every governor across Wales is able to get access to their digital identity, which provides them with the single username and password that then allows them access to all of the other tools and services that I'll show you in a second. So it's really important, as you know, this is a core center piece of our whole EdTech program, is the digital identity. So a learner from starting education to when they finish education have that single username and password, but also they have a full education digital portfolio that lasts their entire education. These are just some of the sort of tools that we've got embedded within the Hub platform, within our national offering. So you'll see there's tools like Office 365, Google for Education, but we also have really important tools like Encyclopedia Britannica, which provides a huge range of resources and materials, which have been quality assured and aligned to curriculum levels, and allows our teachers to just go to these areas and to bring this content through into the classroom as they see fit. So a really important range of national tools there, as I say, available to every learner, every teacher across Wales. This is when a user logs into the platform, they're able to customize their dashboard around what they would like to see. So if they've got tools and services which is more relevant to them based on their level, so a primary learner may have different tools that they use more frequently compared to a secondary learner, they're able to customize the dashboard as they see fit to put what's important for them square and central once they log into the platform. They also get notifications, etc., signposted them to classes or to assignments that may have been set for them. So it makes it as simple as possible for the learner, but also for the teacher to get to where they need to be within the platform. We've worked with a whole range of partners across Wales to curate and to host a range of content, again, aligned to the curriculum for Wales. So working with our national libraries, national museums, etc., we've been able to really take the content that they've been developing and put it under this one umbrella. So there isn't a lot of different websites that we're sending our learners to. They can access quality assured, high quality resources all under that, in that one single content repository. In terms of some of the activity we've done with some of the tech giants out there, like Microsoft, for example, effectively we negotiated a national licensing deal for every school in the country, whereby we were able to secure basically funding as Welsh Government to license Microsoft 365, the A3 version of the product, which provided us with access to Office, Windows, and also Minecraft Education Edition. So every school could basically upgrade all of their existing infrastructure where appropriate to the latest Microsoft levels and services. What it also did, though, was allow us to enable all of our teachers and learners to install this software at home on up to 15 devices, personal devices. So it no longer relied on the learner or the parents to have to purchase Office, for example. They could, through our licensing, now install this at home, which has made a massive difference in terms of levelling the playing field across Wales. Google for Education is another big partner for ours. We have Google Classroom built into the platform, so any school can basically blend the tools and services together as they see fit. You may have one teacher using Google Classroom, you might have another teacher using Microsoft Teams. It's completely down to the school, but we have single national tenancies in place, which has reduced the burden massively for schools and for local authorities in providing support on the ground. Adobe Spark is a recent addition to the Hub platform. In March this year, in response to the pandemic, we expedited the implementation of Adobe Spark because we felt that providing extra tools to our schools would have a really positive effect. This went down really, really well, and the Adobe tool set has been welcomed massively by our teachers across Wales. We were the first country in the world to nationally deploy Adobe Spark, and we're the first country in the world to also have a cohort of learners learners through the Adobe Creative Educator program. So we're really proud of that, but also it underlines the importance of our national digital identity and then being able to expand to include tool sets such as Adobe. In terms of our EdTech programme, this really focuses on infrastructure across Wales. So working on the in-school infrastructure, looking at their wireless networking, looking at their switches, etc. We've developed a massive programme to actually transform the EdTech landscape in school. So the program's been built around 3 core pillars, which are consistency, standardization, and sustainability, which are fundamental to ensuring that this program is going to succeed long term. We were keen to make sure that we didn't just build a pump prime initiative, put some money into the system, but not build sustainability in. So every one of our local authorities working in partnership with Welsh Government has underwritten sustainability for this program going forward, which is absolutely vitally important. The key to this, though, is that we based it on information that we'd secured by surveying schools across Wales. We knew anecdotally that there was a bit of a postcode lottery in terms of where there was solid strategies in place around EdTech infrastructure and when there wasn't. So getting the independent survey undertaking really gave us a baseline, which you see in the bubbles around the edge there. What we did, though, was built the programme around different funding waves. So starting at the bottom with core infrastructure, we developed standards in line with our local authority tech experts around what an ideal core infrastructure needed to look like and how it needed to be built. Those standards were then adopted by all of the local authorities in every school in the country, and our funding was made available to help schools move through these funding waves. But what the local authorities couldn't do is move from the bottom, which is core infrastructure, to end user devices if they hadn't completed the other waves in between. So they had to go through a checkpoint exercise at each funding wave before they could move to the next. So core infrastructure, as I say, is your core switches. Your wired and wireless networking comes next, then device management, and then end user devices. It's pointless, for example, going out and buying 1,000 iPads if you don't have a wireless network in place. So this has really transformed the way schools are now approaching their EdTech strategies. It's really allowed us to build a consistent level playing field across Wales in terms of the infrastructure that's out there, but also give us confidence that it's going to really allow us to deliver into the future. At the top, you'll see curriculum delivery and support, and that's really where we're starting to focus our efforts now. And this comes back to the point I made earlier around professional learning and making sure that our teachers are equipped to actually use this technology in the classroom. On to the next slide. I know there's been a lot of talk around COVID this morning. It's clearly been a focus for us in Wales as well. What we were able to do because of the national procurement service that we have in place and because of the programs that we'd set up is actually put some support in place for our digitally excluded learners very quickly. Once they'd been identified, we were able to mobilise MiFi connectivity for learners that didn't have connectivity at home with some major providers in the UK. And we were also able to actually get devices rebuilt from schools using Neverware's Cloud Ready, so that they would be rebuilt as a Chrome device, because we knew there would be long lead times for ordering new equipment effectively. So by rebuilding existing equipment, we were able to get that out very quickly to our learners and get them back up and running. So that was really, really important for us. Just some facts and figures on our national procurement piece. I won't dwell on these, but I think what we can say is that it's really proved that procurement on a national level will derive economies of scale. We've secured some of the largest discounts ever achieved in UK public sector history with some of our partners, and we've really been able to disrupt the market as a result of the national procurement that's been set up here in Wales. So a really, really positive approach there. Just moving on to the final couple of slides now. Safeguarding is absolutely imperative for us, and the way we've built our services, the way we've built our national platforms has safeguarding really at the heart. We've made sure that our configurations are safe and secure and that the learners are going to be protected. What we've tried to do is really take some of that burden away from schools around things like compliance, contract management, GDPR, etc. Let them get on with delivering in the classroom. There's a lot more information on keeping safe online. If you go to hub.gov.wales and have a look at the online safety area through Keeping Safe Online, you'll be able to see a lot of the detail there. So as I started off, those are the sort of key pillars of our program: broadband, in-school infrastructure, and cloud services. Combining those together really transform the landscape. Finally, just some sort of anecdotes from some of our users, what they've said, all really, really positive. Come back to the main piece that I mentioned earlier, though, built in partnership with our stakeholders, taking their feedback on board, making sure we iterate design and then deliver a service that they can absolutely embed in the classroom. I hope you all enjoy the rest of the summit. I hope that's been a useful presentation. There's some contact details up there. I've also got my contact details in the conference information packs as well. So if you want to reach out, feel free. Many thanks.
Thank you so much for that session, Chris, and it's great to hear about such a successful national EdTech programme, so thank you. And we invite our audience to join us in the next panel session, which will start in 5 minutes' time. Thank you very much.